everyone. My name is Tasneem. I'm the senior manager at 98 percentile in the HR department. And today we did a wonderful drive with XLR. It was amazing right from the very beginning, from the very first day when I got in touch with them till today. I think it was an extremely smooth journey with them. There were multiple follow-ups done by the representatives in order to check that we would be, what time we would be coming, how many people would be coming, what vehicle we would get. To that extent, they were so precise in giving all the information to us. It was extremely great to get associated with them and have a drive at XLR campus. So we are very, very happy that we got a chance to do this. Now, coming to the students, what XLR had, I think they were extremely enthusiastic. They were well prepared. They were aware of what they are coming for. I think there was some back-end preparation which they did that was commendable. They also were very confident and they were open to any kind of thing we were asking them to do. That was I think the best part. Now, I really hope we have a very, very fruitful association with each one of them and XLR in future. We are really looking forward to have many more drives like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi Sharma and I'm the Senior Project Manager for IT Department at 90th Percentile. So today we were here for this IT Bootcamp, right, this technical drive and at XLR. So it was a great experience and I would feel that the students, they are the freshers, right, but it doesn't seem like that. So if I talk about their technical and cognitive ability, they all seems pretty good in that and that's what I felt. And I guess they have been taught pretty well at XLR, so that's how they have performed good in their aptitude and the technical tests. So I wish them all the best and it was a very great experience over here.
Hi, this is Patan, Technology Consulting Manager from 98th Percentile. We visited XLR for the campus placement drive and it went very well today. Miss Ambika, Miss Pragati, everyone received us greatly here and we had a lot of enjoyable time here. The students even had great experience with us. They were interactive, they had good aptitude and all the technological skills they showed. I think they were all well and we really appreciate their time that they spared to us and I think we will be doing a great job. We are expecting a lot of people to be hired from them. Let's see. it was a great experience altogether.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From entering into this cyber tower to exiting out of this tower, the XLR team has been received me with such a care and pleasure.
I am the part of this XLR since 4 months. From the third month itself, they have conducted the placement sessions from the third month itself, and this is the fourth month, and this is the 98th percentile is one of the placement drive I have attended so far, and attending to this drive is such a good experience for me. All the HRs and the team made us feel very comfortable and confident.
XLR helped me a lot, and I experienced a lot of things today. So I'm really hope to be I placed in that company. I'm confident about that. Thank you. About that. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? All right. So I hope everyone had a very good, wonderful day. So we had participants. I think we had a time, so we can start up for now. So we tried to review the demo of cloud computing yesterday, along with various aspects and the introduction and the usage and the real-time environment where it's gonna be used, and we just try to discuss on various aspects. So everyone are able to see my screen, right? Okay. I've started sharing, so I hope everyone are seeing. So everyone are telling that they are able to see. So we just have an introduction of cloud computing, and we just discussed on types of clouds, types of cloud services. The types of cloud means private cloud, public cloud, hybrid clouds, and the various types of clouds, and the advantages of cloud computing, and discussed on various aspects on the data center, correct? And the types of cloud services like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, right? And we just discussed on various examples on in real time where this cloud is going to play a key role. Okay, so and one of that cloud vendor is nothing but AWS, and we just try to see how AWS is trying to provide various services, and we have a different data center locations where Amazon has been opted for and trying to provide services across the world, correct? Any doubts from the last session? Is it clear? Any doubts? So we have tried to see why AWS based on this particular features and advantages in terms of our diversity, innovation services, locations, because the services being provided in various regions and the zones. Okay, and the migration services, and it is providing a backup options for different locations based on the scalable factors, and it is famous because of the pricing model. That means you need to pay. It is trying to provide a pay as you go service model, so that you are not trying to pay the cost or amount or trying to spend the amount for the physical infrastructure. You are trying to pay for the time, how much time you are trying to utilize the cloud services. Okay, so going through in depth on AWS, you can see these are the various services which we can see which are actually being provided by AWS. Like we have seen 200 plus services being offered by the cloud vendor, correct? So out of that, we have a different types of services like a database services, analytical services, integration services, management services, compute services, storage services, network services. All right. So we will try to have a lab session on each of these as well, just to understand on how these services being provided to clients or the companies or the users, so that effectively they can try to use it over the console. Okay, so that they can try to have a benefit out of it in terms of a performance level, in terms of infrastructure deployment, in terms of a cost reduction. Okay, these are the names you will try to see when you log into the Amazon AWS console. Soon we're gonna do the lab session on that as well. Okay, so the top companies which are using this AWS as a cloud vendor, you can see on the screen. That's nothing but for the content. For example, streaming, TV, movie shows, TV's original content, like these famous vendors like a Walt Disney Discovery. You people might have an aware. These are the famous customers, Comcast, DreamWorks, where they are trying to use AWS resources infrastructure for to show their content, all right, across their platforms. So that's how it is being used. And you can see the famous Netflix streaming application, where you can see Amazon Web Services, it's being utilized where complete storage, the storage on the S3, they are trying to have that storage of their particular data inside the storage services offered by the Amazon Cloud. And the distribution service, they can see these are some kind of a gaming companies like a Limelight, Akamai. These are the CDN, global cloud delivery networks, like a networking services as well. And coming back to the playback devices, you can see Apple TV, smart TVs, iOS devices, Androids, gaming consoles, PCs, everything, everywhere in the cloud. So that's how this cloud AWS being popular across different platforms. Okay. So these are nothing but a services. You can see EC2, Lambda, compute services in means where we can try to launch a virtual servers. Storage services is where we try to store the data and trying to have the configuration and set up the permission policies. Security is nothing but providing access to the different users to log into the console and modifying the permissions. And database services where we have a database deployment into this AWS console. Networking services like a virtual private cloud and domain purchase, and the CloudFront is kind of a network distribution concept, elastic load balancing like we have seen yesterday, right? Example where we can try to scale the capacity and scale out the capacity, like we can try to automatically launch a different set of servers and based on the threshold values. So these kind of a concepts here. And management services like monitoring tools and cost managing services, like how much amount of a time I spend on which services I've used. So all this comes under cost management. These are the services covered actually. Okay. So how you try to access this AWS console? We have a website to access the console. So that is through AWS Management Console, which is easy to use and configure and trying to manage the deployment as well. And you can access this AWS via the command line interface as well, that we are calling as AWS CLI. Through the commands inside this particular tool, we can try to interact this AWS Cloud Console. Or else the developers can try to access this console with the software development kits. Like with the help of a code, they try to work on Java, Python, .NET and others codes, right? With the help of these software developing code kits, they can try to have an interaction to this particular cloud console. Okay. So AWS is a well architected framework because it describes the key concepts and the design principles. Okay. So it helps the cloud architects and the engineers to build secure, high performant and resilient and efficient infrastructure for a variety of applications and the workloads. Okay, so these are the main pillars built around 6 pillars like an operation excellence, security, reliability, performance efficiency, and the optimizations and sustainability. Okay, that means with this kind of a framework, it is a well architected framework to provide a consistent approach for the customers and users to evaluate and implement scalable designs. Okay. So we have a different services like an EC2. Under the EC2, these are the different services like an Elastic Compute, Beanstack, Lambda, Outpost. So these are kind of a services which we will try to see going forward when we are trying to do a lab sessions as well. Okay, like I said, database services, storage services, and networking services, where we can try to configure IP address, subnets, route tables, network configuration, rules, firewalls, everything we can try to do them virtually. That means the cloud is trying to provide virtual networks where we can try to administrate, and identity and access management services, like we can try to create users, groups, roles and the policies. Okay. So out of this session, we'll just try to understand how to build a well architect cloud architecture and trying to validate how this architecture will be built up, like infrastructure deployment with the different AWS services and best practices for building solutions on AWS. So describing how to make informed decision on where to place these AWS resources. That's what we are going to learn. Okay, so out of this 15 days course module, we will just try to cover it as much as possible to provide a knowledge transfer. Okay, we'll try to understand on various aspects of the services offered by the cloud. So that's for the introduction completion. So we will try to understand how to log into the console and how can we try to efficiently use these services. All right, so what we're gonna do, there is a website, for example, I'll just ping that console.aws.amazon.com. This is the website to log in, and you need to register a free tier account. So just see that website. So here they are trying to offer a, for the training purpose and practicing lab sessions, they are trying to provide some of the free services as part of the free tier account. Okay, that means for the 12 months you can use this console. That means only specific services. Without knowledge, if you try to use any of these services, you will be charged. You have to remember that you will be have charged without knowledge. So try to do the lab activities which I am trying to tell you, and don't try to do anything apart from out of the scope or the out of the training. Is that clear? Is that clear? So when you just try to access this website, you can see there is an option called create new AWS account. Click on create new AWS account. Wait, I'm just trying to, you can click on that. Once you click on the account, try to give a user email address and give an account name and click on verify email address. You will get a code. Just try that. Okay, once you give that email address and the account name, click on verify, you'll get a code and you will just receive the details. All right. So what option are you guys seeing after trying to click on that create account? Can anyone just tell me that? So it will ask for the card details like a credit card. Okay. So what happened initially, AWS will try to charge 3 rupees and it will try to give you a refund back. It is for just for a verification purpose. Once you create a password, try to enter a credit card details. Okay. And it will try to detect the amount and it will try to refund the amount back. Is that clear? So even if you don't have a credit card, even debit card should be acceptable with a international and transaction enabled in the settings, bank settings. That is mandatory. Okay. So you can select the personal itself because you are doing for a personal purpose. You can select the contact. Let me know if you selected. And even debit card or the credit card, you have to enable the international transaction. Otherwise, it won't try to accept because AWS is completely global. So it will try to charge you the amount. It will refund the amount back. So someone is trying to see a console. Yes. Once you log into the console, it will try to look in this way. You can see you get a username and the password. Click on next. And the password, once you log in, you will see a console screen like this, the screen which I'm trying to see here. How many of you have created now? Don't worry, the amount won't be charged. It will be charging only for once, like 2 to 3 rupees, and it will try to refund back. It is just for a verification purpose. And you can see these are the services what we are discussing, which will be displayed on the screen. If anyone have an existing account, we can use that. If anyone wants to create a new account, we can try to create right away. So international transaction is not enabled, then it won't be acceptable over here. If you open the bank settings or the application settings, you will see the international transaction enabled for your bank. Then enter the credit card details or debit card details here. Kaif Sheikh, which link you need? Once you log into this link, create AWS account. You can see sign into the console and there is an option to click create AWS account. Okay. Anyone is pending? Anyone are trying to do? Like we can give some time. We can select personal, not the business. Yes, I'll just give you some time. You can try to create an account and be ready. So for this entire 10 days, initially or 10 to 11 days, we will completely working on AWS console only. Okay. Because we just need to understand at least one cloud console, right? We are trying to concentrate mostly on Amazon. I will give you some time. That's fine. Just go and try to do. Is there anyone who is trying to do it? Just confirm over the chat. I see a response only from few. If anyone have any doubts, they can ask in the Zoom chat. It won't deduct money again. It will one time amount deduction. It won't auto debit every time. It is a one-time deduction only. Just remember that. And people who are not able to do register the console, they can watch the recorded session for today. They can try to practice for tomorrow, and again tomorrow they can try to go with the training again along with the class. We need to create an AWS account. Once you try to type this website, yes, we need to select the personal only. You will see an option to create AWS account in that link. They will charge you just 3 rupees for a verification purpose. It will refund back. Okay. It is for a verification purpose, not for any other purpose. It is secure. You can give your details, personal details, that's fine. You will have a very basic support. You can try to raise a support case if you have any technical issues. So some people are registering. Let's give 2 more minutes. Anyone pending? If you don't create an account, you cannot practice lab sessions. Okay. It doesn't have any auto debit. Don't worry. After the free trial, your account get expired. If you want to continue the free trial, you need to pay the actual price for the services that you are utilizing. Okay. If you see, we'll try to understand. If I try to type free tier account, let's see. You can see free tier account. Let's try to have an overview. So basically, the free tier, you can see it is a 12 months free. Okay, that means in these 12 months, you can try to utilize these services, only the free services, not all the services. So that means out of these 12 months, there are actually services which are tagged as free tier. If you click that option, you will only have to use that. If you try to click on other option, you will be charged, or you have to remember that. Okay. And it is free for 12 months, and you can see there are various types of services like a compute services, database services, storage services, container, mobile web apps, serverless, machine learning. This is kind of a specific duration that you can try to use it, like a 750 hours, 5 GB of a storage. It's kind of a free account kind of a trial. Okay, 25 GB of a Dynamo database services, Lambda 1 million request. This is kind of a services overview that you will get from here. All right, I'm just pinging that over the Zoom chat. So if you see on the left side, you can see this pane like a computing services. Compute services means where we can try to deploy servers and the infrastructure management. Okay, and here the database services, you can see the database related services where you can try to utilize, including the free tier services and the paid services. Developer tools, like a developers who want to utilize these services, they can try to work on this console. Okay, and who want to develop mobiles and web and applications, they can try to have this kind of a thing. Gaming developments, IoTs, machine learning services. Okay, network delivery services, VPC, virtual private cloud, IP address assignments, everything will be done here. Robotics, satellites, security, identity and policy, where we can try to create users, group policies, and the storage services. Okay, these are kind of a various services you can utilize. And here you can see on the right side, once you log in, you will see an account ID. Whenever you try to register, you will see an account ID here with the digits. You can see 12-digit account ID, that is a unique one, it will be dedicated. Okay, and on the left side you can see there are different regions where these data centers are located, right? Like North Virginia, Ohio, Oregon, Mumbai, Seoul, Singapore, Sydney, Frankfurt, Europe countries, South America, Asia Pacific countries. So there are 11 regions that are not enabled for this account because we are using a free tier account. So these are the available accounts we can use. So whenever we try to do a lab session, once you log in, make sure you select only one region and try to practice all the settings and the lab sessions in only one region only. For example, I'm using US West 2 region, right? So I'll try to practice and create any settings into one region only. Once you try to, for example, today log in Oregon, tomorrow you try to log into the Mumbai region, all settings will be in Oregon region. You might have a chance to forget the services that you worked. So that will be a charges. It will try to incur charges for you. So that's why try to always remember, once you log in, always try to practice in one region. The left side is nothing but a region. The right side is nothing but a zones. Zone is nothing but a division of this data center. For example, US West 2, right? We will have a three zones into one zone, I mean region, like a US West 2A, US West 2B, US West 2C, 2D, AP South 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, different zones into one region. Okay, so you can select one region for now. Like for example, I'm selecting US West Oregon only. Any doubts here till here? Any doubts? Have you selected the region? Okay, yeah, you can select Mumbai, but you can try to select use that location itself every time when you log in. So how these regions plays a key role, because you need to select a nearby location or the region where you're trying to work on. Okay, that means if I'm trying to stay in Bangalore, I need to see the nearby region so that I'll get a good reliable performance and reliable consistent performance for that particular deployment of infrastructure. That means I'll get a services performance very good. That means will be reliable compared to nearby location. That means nearby this Mumbai. Okay, if people who are trying to stay in the US West location, they can try to choose Oregon. People are trying to stay in the California, they can try to choose California. So this is basically in terms of a network level, performance level, bandwidth, latency, in all aspects, the performances will be matters. Okay. Clear? Shravani, what is your doubt? Yes, you need to click give a student. You can select anything. For example, you are trying to, I'm selecting Oregon, right? Because I'm trying to select this Oregon region because most of the new services will be deployed here. Because I already have a settings, you can select Mumbai if you want. Because you are trying to stay in nearby location Mumbai, right? In India, you can select Mumbai only. Okay. I hope everyone selected that. Some have doubts. Kalyani, how would I know the postal code of yours? You need to type your address. Okay. Vijay Kumar, what is the problem? You're not able to select the region. On the top right of the screen, you can select that. If you click on the drop down, you will see the different options. Vijay, you can see I'm clicking on that. It is changing. If you don't have a credit card or debit card, you cannot have an account. So you cannot try to practice lab sessions. You can try to borrow a credit card or debit card for 3 rupees to have a deduction from any of your relatives or cousins or your family members for a temporary purpose and try to practice. You need to sort the OTP issues later. I don't know if it might be issues with your bank. Okay, Tejaswini. Yes, you can use any one of the credit card for a temporary for now. It won't deduct anything apart from 3 rupees. It will refund it back. You can fill any address what you wish. Okay, so now we'll try to go back with an actual understanding of the services, how to utilize that. Okay, let me share the PPT. Just a moment. So initially we'll try to understand how to utilize these virtual services over the cloud console. The first module we're gonna start with the compute services. Okay, you can see the compute services on the left side. There is a compute. Compute means it will try to provide a compute services for you. That means virtual server environment and deployment for you. Okay, that we're going trying to understand how it's going to be worked. So we'll try to understand the scenarios. So the main objective of this to understand how these compute services like EC2, we are calling that in AWS console as Amazon EC2. Amazon EC2 is nothing but elastic cloud compute. It can be used as an architecture. So we will try to see with the help of this elastic cloud compute, and we'll try to understand the concept of Amazon machine images to accelerate the creation and repeatability of the infrastructure. Infrastructure is nothing but a combination of all the virtual devices to combinedly try to form a particular setup. Okay, the infrastructure, we are calling that as an infrastructure, like a database servers, application servers, and a development of an application and a website, storage, everything. Okay, the networking devices, everything we can try to integrate and trying to deploy a complete infrastructure. And we will try to understand the differentiation between the instance types. We will try to recognize how to configure EC2 instance with the user data. We will try to see the storage solutions. We will try to describe the pricing options, determining the placement groups, launching an Amazon EC2 instance. So these are the module objects that we are trying to achieve from here. Okay. So what is Amazon EC2? Adding compute with Amazon EC2. So Amazon EC2 is a service which provides resizable compute capacity in the cloud environment. Okay, resizable compute capacity in the cloud environments. It provides virtual machines. That means we are trying to use a physical computers, right, in general. So within the cloud environment, we can try to have a usage of the virtual servers in the cloud console. So what happens with this help of this Amazon EC2, we can try to deploy a servers within minutes. See how beneficial it is. Within minutes, we can try to deploy and launch the servers without any issue. So we can automatically scale capacity up and down as needed. I told you, right, the scale in and scale down. In the same way, for example, I launched the virtual server with a 2-core CPU and 4 GB of a memory. So in the future, if I need to increase, what is the best option? I just need to modify the configuration in the cloud console. It will try to done within seconds or the minutes. I can simply automate the scale capacity. So again, as we are discussing, this cloud model is pay as you go service. We will try to pay only for the capacity that you use, not for the physical architecture. Okay, you need to understand that. So as we remember, what is a server? Virtual server. An EC2's instance is a virtual machine that runs on a physical host. Okay, so what happens, as I told you, the cloud will be trying to manage the physical data center, right? Inside the physical data center, there is a racks, and the racks will be placed, and inside the racks, there will be a physical servers, correct? With a high configuration. You can see there is a different host servers in their data center, like in some particular location in the data center rooms. So these physical servers, what they do, they will try to install some kind of a software, which is nothing but a hypervisor software. So what this hypervisor software will do, it will try to provide a virtual machines out of these physical servers. That means from this server, we will get a different kind of a virtual machines access. So particular, for example, when the hypervisor is installed on this particular host server, this host server will have a different configuration, like a high level of CPU and configuration. Correct. So 100 core CPU and 100 GB of memory. That is nothing but a RAM. Okay. So what it will try to do? This software will try to create a virtualized machine, and then it will try to divide different virtual machines to the users when we try to select that. For example, 2 core CPU, 5 GB of RAM. I need a Windows machine. Correct? I need a Windows operating system machine. It will try to be launched from this particular host. If I need a Linux machine, this software will try to select a Linux machine, and they'll try to give you a launch server access. If I need a Macintosh server, it will try to do that. So basically, you remember there is a tool called VMware tool. We'll try to install in the machines. So in the same way, this hypervisor tool, it will try to connect with this particular physical servers, and with the help of that, it is trying to provide a remote access to these servers virtually. Based on our requirement, we can try to choose how much CPU you need, how much RAM you need, and how much storage you need, and what kind of a network you want to launch. So by selecting all these options, where do we select? Inside the cloud console. Okay. Inside the cloud console, we will have an option to configure and trying to manage the configuration. So you can see an EC2 instance is a virtual machine that runs on a physical host. You can choose different configurations of CPU and memory capacity. And we have a different storage options as well: instance storage, block storage. Instance storage is nothing but a root volumes. Block storage is nothing but a external volumes. We will try to discuss that soon as well. So it also provides a network connectivity. So this is how in the background it just works on. Okay. So with the help of Amazon EC2, what we're gonna do? It provides the complete control of your computing resources. That means including the operating system, the processor types, and for example, if I want to launch a server, like a virtual server in the console, how can I use that server? I can use that server as a web application server to deploy websites, application server to deploy applications like a gaming applications, and the streaming applications, and the database server to store the data, media server for a streamline of environment. Like a Netflix is trying to use that service as a one of the cloud service, right? For the content streaming, that is kind of a thing. So anything the server can do based on the applications that you try to install in the server. We have a different instances like our on-demand instances, reserved instances, spot instances, and the saving plans. And it will give us an option to run any type of a workload. For example, we can deploy simple websites, enterprise applications, high performance computing applications. With this kind of a situations and various options, we can try to have this kind of a EC2 service can be utilized. All right. So to launch the server, these are the minimum requirements what we're gonna expect. Okay. So creating EC2 instances. For example, before that, I just try to show you on how to create an EC2 instance. I'll just let you know how to do that later, the settings. This is a EC2, right? If I want to select the service, what I can do, I'll simply type EC2 in the search. EC2. I'm clicking on the search. You can see in the search option, you will try to type EC2. That means Elastic Cloud Computing. You can see the title called Virtual Servers in the Cloud. Okay. Once you select that, click on Launch Instance. I'll just tell you later. Okay. I'm just showing you because you cannot launch the instance because you don't have a settings configured already. For example, I want to launch a Linux server. Okay. Linux web server. Or else I can try to launch first Windows itself. Windows web server. So here I'm trying to select the image, what kind of a software I need. On the left side you can see there is a free tier only. If you select this, it will try to show you the free tier limitation services. I'll click on all windows. I'll check this box. I'm selecting this machine for example. You can see the green color option, free tier eligible. For that machines only we can select. And T2.micro, this is kind of an instance. There are different types of a configuration. Like as I told you, I can choose how many CPU cores, how much memory I need, right? 1 core CPU and 1 GB of RAM. See, cloud, it's not a server. Cloud is nothing but accessing the services over the internet. You need to understand the difference. Cloud is nothing but a services which we are trying to access over the internet. Out of that, this virtual server is one of the service offered by the cloud environment, this by this cloud vendor. Okay. And I'm selecting the key pair, which I've already selected. I'll just show you later. I'm selecting the default VPC settings with the security group. I'm selecting Linux. I'll just show you how much time it is trying to take for me to launch a server. It is a launching server. I'll launch one more server. I just now launched a Windows server, right? I'll launch one more server called Linux server. Linux server. Again, I need to select the free tier only, because if I select others, I will be having a incurred with the charges. Okay, every per hour charges it will be there. It will try to send you a notification to pay the bill. So I need to select the Linux. I'm selecting the Linux machine as usual. I'll go with the default settings. I'll tell you about these settings later. Okay. T2.micro, I have 1 core CPU, 1 GB RAM. You can see the free tier eligibility. You can see this free tier eligibility. If you select this one, it is not free tier eligible. It will give you charges. How much is the charge? It will try to charge 0.058 USD dollars per hour. Don't select this. Only check for the options, free tier eligible options only. If you select any other things, it will be chargeable. Okay. Key pair, default VPC. Linux security group. Launch instance. It has an 8 GB of a storage. Okay. So if you go back, this is the instances here, which will try to show you the running status. You can see one is the Windows server, one is the Linux server. Correct? I'll just show you, we'll try to see how it's going to be launched. So let me try to see. It is trying to launch a virtual server here. We will try to connect these servers as well. So the status checks has been 2 by 2 check pass, but the first server it is trying to still initialize. We need to give a time. Let's connect this Windows server. just show you. For example, this is a server. I'm clicking on connect from here. So this can be accessed through an RDP client, or your computer might have an RDP client, right? Install remote desktop connection. This is nothing but an RDP. Full form of RDP is nothing but remote desktop connection. It will try to show you something like this. Okay. If I copy this public DNS or the public IP address, I just need to paste that over here. It will try to give a connect. It will try to ask for the username and the password. Okay. If I try to select the get password, I have already a key file which is stored in my computer. Let me try to show that. See, I have a key file. It will try to generate the encrypted password. I'll copy the password. Username is an administrator. Password is the one which has been generated. It is connecting. You can see it is asking for the confirmation. Yes, that means I'm trying to connect a virtual server from my own computer. Okay, I'm clicking on yes. It will try to launch a virtual server in your computer now. That means you're launching a virtual computer over the cloud internet. It is applying the settings. It's taking time. Let's give it some time. In the meanwhile, we will try to connect the Linux server as well. This is the Windows. This is a Linux machine. This is a running state, and that status X has been passed. And where you can see this particular server has been launched under which region? Oregon region. And under which zone? US West 2B. You can see US West 2B. We'll have a private IP address, public IP address, and the public DNS. Okay, I'll connect this machine. I'll just click on connect from here. It will try to open a Linux machine in the console. Usually take minutes to launch the server. Okay, and to launch this server we need all these aspects. Okay, I'll explain everything after this. Okay, I'm just showing a demo. So to launch a server, all these aspects are required. I'll just tell you how to create these aspects later. You can see I simply launch a Linux server within minutes. This is nothing but a Linux server. You are seeing my screen, everyone? See, this is a Linux server where I can try to do a projects and the requirements and everything. Within minutes, I can try to launch the server. I think this has got stuck at the hung. Let me try to reboot this server once. Let me check. We have an options to start server, reboot server, terminate server. Okay, let me try to reboot. So let me try to connect again. Click on connect. Still it is trying to have a time. Let's give it some time. It is asking for a password. Click on yes. Linux server works on a command line interface. Okay. I don't know, it is working. Just stuck at the stuck screen. Seems there is some issue with the configuration. Let me try to launch one more. I'll select the free tariff server again. Enter number, select option. Selected server 2022. We have a different set of images. There we can try to select the softwares. Okay. I'll just select the normal one. Windows here. It has a default of 30 GB for storage. I'm clicking on launch server. Let's wait. So success initiated. Let's wait for a Windows server to launch. It's still in pending mode. So it is running. Let me connect this server now. Just get password. Please wait at least 4 minutes after launching a server before retrieving the auto-generated password. Let's give it some time. Okay. Try again. Now it is asking me for generating a password. I'll generate the password. See, there's a password visible here. I can download the desktop file, RDP file. See, this is a small client which is opening, and it is asking for a connection of connecting this server. Connect, yes. It will ask for the username and password now. You can see this. Administrator as a username and the password. Okay. We can try to launch n number of users. Okay. It is asking for a confirmation. Yes. It is connecting the server. Let's see. It should give us a console screen of a server. It looks like the same computer like at our home. You can see a virtual server being launched. With what version? Windows 2022 version, right? So you can see the black screen. This is a server, virtual computer I've been launched in the cloud. I'm just showing a demo now. We did not go through. I just want to give you a demo on how quick the servers can be launched. So don't try to come into a conclusion that you are getting confused or you're not understanding. Okay. I'm just showing how our virtual computers are getting launched in the cloud console. Is that clear to everyone? I see some people are confused on what is happening. Correct. I'm just launching a virtual computers of the cloud environment. Is that clear to others? Yes. I'm not telling any options. I did not tell any options of these. To launch a server, all these options are needed. That we will still cover. We have a time. Don't rush. Okay. So I launched, you can see, a virtual computer inside the cloud environment. Simple. That's the thing I just want to tell you. See, it looks like a same computer here, like a Windows operating system. This is a Windows operating system virtual computer. And the other one, Linux operating system virtual computer. This is the Linux operating system. This is one of the server. That means you can try to use these servers as a web servers, application server, database server, media server, anything. Developers can use that, analytical engineers and application engineers, front-end designers, anyone who will try to work on, right, in real time. This is how they try to launch the servers, and they'll try to install applications and provide the access. All right. So you can see I have a simple computer. What is the type of instance I choose here? You can see the type of instance size is t2.micro. That means what is the configuration I can see from here in the console. How can I see the configuration? From the task manager. So I can see how much CPU and how much memory it got assigned. You can see here I have a free tier account server. That means under the free tier account I just try to deploy. Okay. So every device have a different MAC address, and every server will have a different MAC address and the different IP address, different public IP address. Okay, you can see how much is the CPU? 1 core CPU. That means 1 core CPU has been selected and 1 GB of a RAM. In your computers you might have a high configuration, right? Like a 4 core CPU, 8 GB, 12 GB of RAM, correct? Here also the servers also have a same configuration, that it depends on how much you want to use. As part of a free tier account, we are having a very much less configuration. You can see this. And you have a file explorer. How much is the storage it got? Let's see. If I open this file explorer, you have a storage of 30 GB. It has a Windows operating file systems installed into this particular location. So 30 GB is the only storage I have on this server, that is t2.micro. t2.micro configuration is 1 core CPU, 1 GB of RAM and 30 GB of storage. As simple as that. And if you want to have additional storage, we can try to do that very quick. If I go to the console, we can try to expand the storage of this device from the storage options, because AWS is also trying to provide the storage services as well. For example, this is my server. How much is the storage is I have? I have only 30 GB of a C drive, correct? I have a 30 GB of a C drive. If I want to have additional storage here, I can try to add additional storage from the storage options that we are calling as a block storage. Okay, so this is how I can try to simply launch a server. I can try to look at things. So we are just trying to look at the basic understanding how this works. Okay, you can see whenever you launch any server, you will get you can try to edit the names like a web server or a database server or application server. It depends on your requirement. Web server. This is app server. You can see I can use these servers as a different requirements. I have an instance ID. As I told you, the public IP address. I have a public IP address and the private IP address. Private IP address is for the internal communication. The public IP addresses is to have the communication over the internet. Okay. So instance state equal to running. Public DNS also we have. And there is a monitoring, that means how much CPU utilized, how much memory utilized, everything will be displayed under the monitoring section here. Security is something, what kind of a inbound firewall access that we can allow, we'll be trying to see under the security. We'll try to learn more on that. Under which network you want to launch the server, which IP address you want to assign, everything will be coming under networking session. We have a storage of 30 GB we have already discussed. In this way I can try to launch a simple server from here in the cloud console. So this kind of a virtual server access will be provided with the what service? Computing services. Okay, so all these three servers were launched under Oregon location. I got a service offered from this particular data center location, Oregon. Under which zone? I told you, right, we have a different set of zones. US West 2A, 2B, 2C and further, right? I have a servers launched from the availability zone, that is nothing but US West 2B, all these three. You are getting my point? No, this is a virtual server. It don't utilize your internal memory. It is completely a separate computer or virtual computer we are launching here. Your computer is different. This server is different. You can see this is a different server. I'm just trying to launch. I just want to show you how quick I can try to deploy a server from the AWS console. Okay, you cannot keep the server on. Okay, how the charges are going to be? I told you, right, there is a free tier charges. If I see what are the charges for my compute services, I can launch only the specific servers and the specific resources only. Under the free tier, what are the things you have? Under the compute, you can see Amazon EC2. It provides only 750 hours of a standby time. 750 hours of particular instances depending on the region. That means I can launch only t4g.small server or t2.micro server or t3.micro server depending on the region. That means you will have only 750 hours of server per month, like running time. For example, you without knowledge, you just launch the server, you log off and close the laptop. What happens? The server is still running in the background. That means this day will be gone, like 24 hours will be utilized, and that 24 hours will be deducted from the 750 hours. You just need to remember. As I told you, I can launch t2.micro and t3.micro, right? So what kind of a server I launched here? You see, I launched t2.micro. See, t2.micro. That means under the free tier account. If you launch any other server, you will incur charges. So 750 hours is only for the free tier account. That is only for t2.micro, t3.micro and t4g.micro depending on the region. You will see a tag later, free tier eligible. Apart from this, if you select any other option, you will be chargeable. no one will be responsible, you have to pay the bill. So just try to understand the technical aspects, terminology, what things has to be done, what has to be verified, everything you need to understand. You cannot simply launch the server and keep it active and go. So once, if I try to do some activities here, I simply, what I'll try to do, I'll just terminate the server once I'm done with the lab session. You can see I'm clicking on terminate server. That means I'm trying to shut down the server. It will be completely gone. So that I'm done with my lab session, I'm just logging off the server. As simple as that. You can see shutdown. It has to be terminated. I have a option to stop server, reboot server, terminate. Stop means the server will be in stop state, your data won't be lost. Reboot means your server will be restarted. Terminate means your data will be completely lost. Okay. As part of a free tier session, we are just practicing, right? That's why I'm trying to terminate. If you simply terminate, your server will be logged off and shut down. Simple, as simple as that. You can see server has been terminated. That means server won't be available. Now this server is nothing but a web server which is still running. If I try to stop, the server won't be accessible. You can see this. I can try to store the data, I can copy the data and everything under the file explorer of my storage here. Under this 30 GB, you can try to expand as well. I'll tell you on how to expand that as well in the future. Okay, going forward. So for example, I want to use this particular Linux server. Where was the Linux server? This is a Linux server, right? For example, I want to deploy some particular website. I'll just show you how it can be done quick. Just within, within quick minutes, we can try to do that. I want to use this web server to deploy some sample website. For example, I have a startup company. I want to launch a website on the server. What I'll try to do, I launch a server. I'll just try to install some commands. Okay. So I'll just use this particular server as a website so that I can provide this particular website to the users so that they can access my server. Okay. Let me try to do that. These are kind of a specific commands. I'll tell you later when we are trying to practice. I'll show you. I'm just trying to deploy some website. Okay. Sample website. Let's see how it goes. So this is a web server. I'm copying the DNS. DNS is nothing but a domain name. Like a companies used to have a, websites have a domain names, right? Like flipkart.com, amazon.com, Facebook. These websites, how they are trying to give us an access. When you try to access those websites, that website is trying to go and hit to the backend cloud web server. As simple as that. So when you try to hit the website, the request is going to the backend web server. That web servers are managed inside the cloud environment. These are the servers. Okay. For example, I try to deploy a sample website, right? I just try to copy and open the testing. Let's see how it shows. We need to go with the HTTP. Okay. HTTP slash. This is kind of a sample, website. I just try to have a during the demo session. Let me see. It has to have a port which is not enabled. Okay. Which one which I do with this? All right, this is the one. Copy. HTTP. I'm just showing the website. It works, right? Okay. Connect this. EC2 instance. Let me connect again. The website was running fine. I'm trying to enter some commands to install sample website. So I have this. When I'm trying to copy this, copy. You can see this, my screen. Welcome to Flipkart demo website. That means I'm using this Linux server to deploy some sample website. Like I just have a simple line, but in general, then the practical what they do, they will try to have a pictures, videos, and the font and the content and everything, right? They'll try to do. The front end admins will try to do. I just want to show it. I just ping you this Zoom, the website link for you. Just you go and try to access if it is working for you as well. I'll just try to put you that. I think installment HTTP. You can also try to access my server because I given a public access. Just everyone go and try to access this. You should see the output of this because I deployed a sample website. Let me know if you are able to access. Everyone access the link and just let me know the output if it is coming. So you're trying to access the demo website which I try to deploy in the cloud environment. Simply I try to deploy the server. I try to deploy a website within minutes. You can see how quick it is. You're getting my point? So that's how feasible it is. So the traffic won't be much because you just try to access the website. You are trying to hit, but you're not trying to access any content. You don't have any links to click, right? It doesn't create any. The more number of people are trying to access my server, the more number of utilization it will try to go. And I need, hundreds of servers. In general, the big companies like Amazon, Flipkart, and e-cart commerce shopping websites, they'll try to have a more number of servers to reduce the load, to share the load across all the locations. Okay, with simple one server I try to deploy this website. In the same way you can try to deploy the server, I mean the website inside the Windows server as well. It depends on the requirement, what kind of an applications you are trying to launch. Okay, so this is how it works. So to launch this server, what are the configuration we need, that we have to understand on these particular information. We need to understand what are the aspects we need to understand on this. To launch a server, all these aspects are required. Okay, so as I'm done with work, I'll just go and terminate because I just want to show a practical lab session, right? I'll just go and try to terminate now. I'll click on terminate. So all my data will be lost. You can see it is trying to show you the CPU percentage, network percentage. Suddenly the CPU was low earlier. The CPU was suddenly high because every one of you are trying to hit the website of welcome to Flipkart demo website, correct? That's why the CPU is high here. See, it's the shutdown mode. Now we'll try to understand how to select the instance types. Okay, first see, while launching a server, you remember we have tried to select it the instance type, correct? Instance type means what kind of a server we need to launch, what kind of a CPU I need, what kind of a configuration I need. Everything I need to will be decided under EC2 instance type. Okay, So an EC2 instance type defines a configuration of a CPU, memory, storage, and network. Performance characteristics that's provide a given level of a compute performance, because under the free tier account, what was the instance that we launched just before? Under the free tier account, what kind of instance we launched? T2.micro, correct? Where is the T2.micro? Because we have an access to launch only T2.micro only. Here, this is the one. Under this instance types, we are able to launch T2.micro or T3.micro. That's it. And all this will be chargeable based on hourly basis. How much time you are launching, it will be charged under hourly basis, because this is having a high-end configuration. Okay. So when you launch a server, you need to understand what is the instance type and which server you need to launch for the practice session. Okay. So if I try to open this, I'll just show you. I'll just show you. If I go here, we need to understand this. Just once you are done with this session today, you just need to go through this instance types as well. What are the different types of instance type in AWS which are being provided? You can see, I'll show you. I'll give you this particular link to everyone in the Zoom chat. You will see the different aspects, like what are these instance types and what kind of instance types are provided. You can see we have a general purpose instance, compute optimized, memory optimized, accelerated optimized, storage, instance features, right? You can see general purpose instances, it provides a balanced compute, memory, networking resources. This can be used in terms of launching a web servers and the code repositories. Okay, this kind of a general purpose instances will be having a series, M series and T series. You can see each series, like this particular instance type you select, you will have 1 core CPU, 4 GB of RAM. If you select M7G.2X large, you will have 8 core CPU and 32 GB of RAM. This is all about M series. Okay, if I go to T3 dot, for example, you have a free tier, right? T3.micro, we have a free tier, requirement, right? We can try to launch this as well. T3.micro means you'll have a 2 core CPU and 1 GB of RAM. And we have a T2.micro as well. 1 core CPU, 1 GB of RAM. These are the different. Based on your requirement, how much CPU cores you need, how much RAM you need, you can try to select that. So each instance type will have a different pricing options that you need to understand. So someone have a question, Sharvari Kambale. How do we know what core CPU we need? So at your home, you are trying to use your laptop or a computer. So what kind of a RAM you want to prefer, Sharvani? What all the things that you would like to validate? It's your choice. It has to be understood by you. Correct. For example, I'm trying to deploy a gaming application. I need high graphic memory, high CPU, high memory. Then I'll try to go with an accelerated computing because it have a high optimized acceleration cores. You can see core processor to functions hardware accelerators. I'll try to choose any of P series. It have GPUs, graphical processing units, right? NVIDIA and switch. That means this much of CPU, 640 GB and GP memory and this kind of a specification. This charges very high. If I want to have a storage optimized, that I want to have a storage like a database related server, I'll try to choose I series. So I go with a IG4 large. Here I'll have a high storage. Okay, you can see 3750 GB with a 16 core CPU. You are getting my point? Sharvani, is that clear? Based on the project requirements, based on the type of work, type of server you want to launch. If you are a developer, if you are trying to practice and develop an application, what kind of a resources you need, what kind of a CPU, how much memory you need, how much graphical course you need. Based on that, you will try to select. We have a compute optimized. Compute optimized means it will try to start with a C series. That means you'll have a good amount of CPU cores, which is mostly dedicated with scientific modeling, dedicated gaming servers, server engines, machine learning, and other computing. This is kind of a compute optimized. Memory optimized means it will try to concentrate mostly on the workload performance in terms of a memory level, which process large data sets in memory. Okay, this will start with an R series, X series, high memory. You can see high memory means how much is a RAM? 18,432, 24,576 GB of a RAM. This is very high. The prices will also be high. Okay, accelerated computing means which requires calculations, graphical processing, data patterns, softwares running only on computer CPUs. For that situations, this kind of an accelerated computing instances will be selected. Storage optimized, it will try to mostly concentrate on high level of a workloads to have a large data sets on the local storage. Okay, with high inputs and outputs operations. It starts with I series, L series, D3 series. Okay, if I try to select this H1, you can see storage is 8 into 2000 hard disk drive. That means 16,000 hard disk drive storage that is required. Like in that much GB of storage which is available, it will be concentrating mostly on the storage level. So this is how it will be look like. HPC means high performance compute instance servers, which are built to offer the best performance on running high servers. Okay, this is how. This is kind of a overview of instance types that we can select, and each instance have a different pricing options that you need to decide based on the use cases. You can see the use cases which we can try to see. I just posted the link in the Zoom chat. You can go through and overview on that particular instance types. Is everyone clear on this instance types concept? Any doubts? I can answer. You can go through overview on this. Any doubts on instance types? Any doubts? So while trying to practice as well lab sessions, while launching a server, you can see I'll click on launch. You just don't do that because we need to configure more settings tomorrow. You will see the free tier instances. So this instance types can be selected while clicking on the launch instance. I'll show you where we can see that. Okay, I'll show you. This is where we need to select the instance type. You can see this. If I click on this, free tier eligible, you need to select the free tier eligible only. If you select apart from this any other thing, it will be chargeable. You can see I don't see any information like a free tier here. I can select only free tier eligible only. So even the games or the mobile applications, what we try to have a play in Android device and the iOS applications, how these games and these things are deployed, because that games will be deployed in these virtual servers only, or the physical servers or the virtual servers wherever, but that should be deployed in these servers only. And from that your mobiles, that will be server will be connected, the backend server will be connected in the cloud maybe, correct? Those applications will be installed inside these servers only to handle the load. Okay, like Android applications, iOS applications, any application, it needs a platform, right? So that kind of a virtual server platform will be provided by the cloud vendors. Okay, like a developers, gaming developers, designers, front-end designers, data scientists, database engineers, network admins, everyone will be trying to utilize these services. Okay, so this is all about EC2 instance types. All right, so we have an option called, while launching a server, you see there is an option called to select, right? I know that what kind of a CPU, what kind of a memory I need. That's fine. But what kind of an operating system I need, I also need to select that, correct? That is nothing but a with the help of an Amazon machine image. You can see Amazon machine image. What is Amazon machine image? An AMI is a template that contains the software configuration like an operating system, like a Windows operating system, Linux operating system, Ubuntu, Red Hat, and Debian, Macintosh, Linux, Windows, like Microsoft Windows 2022, Windows 2008 server, like what kind of a version you need, everything will be selected. So by default, with the help of an images here, there will be a software image that has been already configured. You know, we have a full catalog, like a thousands of application and OS image. We just click on simply whatever the image I need based on my project, you can try to select here. Okay, you can see if you click on this, you will get all the Linux images. You can see free tier. You can see all the Linux images here with the versions. Everything will be mentioned here. Like a free tier, for example. If I try to select Windows, I'll have a different Windows Linux machines like a Microsoft Windows 2022, 2022 core base. It's a different version. See, okay. So you have a different versions. So that kind of a software image, it will be selected in the service, that concept, that is nothing but an Amazon machine image. So what is an Amazon machine? We'll try to understand. Okay. So Amazon machine image, it provides the information that is needed to launch an instance. So what kind of information it will provide? It contains the guest operating system like a Windows, Linux, Macintosh, Red Hat, Ubuntu, whatever the operating system that is required for the project or the workload you can select. That means by default it will have a pre-configured software installed inside the server. I mean into this particular image. We simply select the image. We will select t2.micro, CPU and memory, and we click on launch. That's it. And we can try to have a permissions, and we can try to attach the storage to this particular image or the server as well. We can try to create n number of images, like you can see, create multiple instance by using the same AMI. You can see I have an AMI. I'm launching server 1. Correct. I can launch additional server similarly by with the configured instance 2, instance 3, instance 100. So image is a very helpful for launching a server in a very quick and efficient manner. Yes, in Linux we have a different operating systems like a Ubuntu, Debian, Red Hat, Fedora. There are so many operating systems. In Windows we have a right Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 2008, Windows 2012. There are different distributions, right? Even Linux also have a different distributions. Okay. What are the benefits of this Amazon machine image? Repeatability. An AMI can be used repeatably to launch servers with efficiency and the precision. Reusability. Instances can be launched and the same AMI can be used to launch a new server. Reusability. Recoverability. For example, you launch a server with one of the AMI, for example, that is not working. There is another server which is already working. So what you do? You will try to back up the working AMI and try to launch a new server. That is because of with the help of a recoverability. So these kind of a benefits we have with the AMI concept. So machine image is nothing but a pre-configured software image. For a Linux, it can be Linux image, it can be Windows image, it can be Macintosh or any kind of an operating system. We select and we can try to launch. Simply, what is an image? For example, you have a brand new computer at your home. In earlier days, how do install the softwares? We have a CD drive or the pen drive, right? In the CD or the pen drive, what do we have? we have an image, like a software image, right? Pre-configured software. We just set up that, we try to put into the CD drive, we install the operating system. In the same way, this is kind of a virtual image that we'll try to utilize to launch a servers. Okay. We don't need to bother about installation. We don't need to bother about the configuration and everything. So everything has been already pre-deployed with the help of a software images inside this cloud console itself. We just need to simply select whatever the requirement we had and then launch the server. That's how it is going to be beneficial. Okay. Image is not based on Linux. As I told you, image is nothing but a pre-configured software. It can be any operating system, not dedicated to Linux only. Is it clear, Pratik? I have a different images. See, there are different softwares with a different images, which with a pre-configured software installed here. OpenVPN access, firewalls, Red Hat, OpenVPN, CST, and CentOS security. It's kind of a security antivirus image. Linux benchmark, Microsoft Windows, Cisco security firewall. There are different images that will be utilized. We shouldn't use that. You know, this is a free tile. We can use this. F5 load balancer server. There are different images. You can go through and try to understand. Okay. Any doubts on AMIs? So we have a quick start AMIs which are provided, and this is a section called my AMIs which will be created by myself. And marketplace AMIs are nothing but third party softwares which will be there. So this has been provided by, you can see DevOps images, infrastructure images, software images, business application images, machine learning, IoT, professional services, cloud operations, everything. You can try to filter out based on your requirement. You can see there are so many, right? Based on the Windows machine, operating system, you can try to select what kind of a machine I need. And Windows also we have a different version. See, 2019, 2016, 2017, 22, everything in Windows. In the Linux, we have a Red Hat, CentOS, Debian, SUSE. These are all Linux machines. You simply select that. Already the softwares are installed in the background. It will try to launch a server for you. So that's why you are able to launch the servers within minutes. Community MIs are nothing but verified publishers. They try to have some, uploaded some kind of images over here. This is kind of a sample images which are already in place. These are nothing but community AMIs published by anyone. Okay. For example, I just launched a server right before. In this server, I try to do some work like installation of Apache. Correct. So what I'll try to do, to save this software application, I'll try to save this particular image, and then I can try to launch 100 servers with the help of the same AMI what I have been done here. So next time I don't need to install this particular software every time in all the 100 servers, because with the AMI I can try to use the same AMI application and the same website on all the servers. That's simple as that. That is a benefit. That's why the concept of repeatability, you can see repeatability, reusability, and the recoverability. These are the benefits with the help of an AMI section we have. Clear? So choose an AMI based on the region, based on the operating system, based on the type of a storage, based on the architecture, based on the virtualization type. So that is how we will be able to select that. Okay. Any doubts on the AMI section? Any doubts on the AMI section? Don't do any lab session now until I tell you on other things. We have to configure some settings to launch a server. Okay, I just give you a demo today. I'll just explain the settings that has to be configured soon. You just log off the console once you're done. Okay, don't try to launch. So this is all about AMIs. All right. And when I'm trying to launch the server, you can see there is a different life cycle, right? It is going, I select the server, I select the instance type, and the server will try to go into the pending mode. Okay, and the server will get into a running state. Once it is running, either I can try to reboot, or else I can try to shut down, or else I can try to terminate. This is kind of an instance life cycle, how it is trying to show up over here. Okay, and what else we have discussed? AMIs. Hmm. So while launching a server, I told you, right, these are the things that is required to launch a server. So what you're gonna do today, just go and try to key pair. Key pair is nothing but a set of credentials to log in any server inside the cloud environment. Key pair is nothing but a credentials for the authentication purpose, correct? So let's try to create that for today and save it so that we can try to practice tomorrow as well. Everyone go to the section EC2. You can see, select the proper region and click on launch instance. Just don't launch, just click on launch instance. I'll show you the key pair creation. That's it for today. Okay, so once you come down, you just come to the key pair section. See here, it will just a login method. You can use a key pair to securely connect any server. Ensure that you have access to the selected key pair before you launch the server. I already have a key pair, but you don't have, right? So each key pair is dedicated to the particular region only. If you created key pair in Oregon, then it will be available here. If you create a key pair in Mumbai, it will be available here, right? So click on create new key pair. Just give it a name, AWS key pair. AWS key pair. Everyone open that? Yes or no? I need a response. And then try to select this RSA, private and public key pair, and select the PEM file and click on create key pair. And download the file, and this file you have to save it in your personal storage because that has to be used in the entire session. All right, give a name, select the key pair, create key pair, and try to download and save it in your local storage in your computer. Clear? Let me know if it is saved. We will use that key pair tomorrow. You can see this option. Go to instances. You can see there is an option called launch instance. Once you click on launch instance, if you come down, there is an option called key pair. Here you don't have a key pair, right? Click on create new key pair. Select RSA, give a name, demo key, and select the PEM and create key pair, and it will download in your browser and save it in your local storage. So close this window and log off this particular console. Log off the console. Simple. Have you done? You just save the file. Don't try to save it any format. It should be the format of .pem. The key file should be in the form of a PEM file, .pem. See, the file has to be the .pem, .pem. Okay. So just save that file. Tomorrow we'll try to practice furthermore. So that's it for today's sessions. Any doubts on today? So rather giving a password, can you give a PAN card or Aadhaar card, Ritesh? And we're gonna have a furthermore interesting sessions going forward. I'll explain you each and every options as much as possible. Ritesh, don't give a password option while registering the account. Try to give some, uh, PAN card or any other details maybe. Whatever the name, you can give any name to the keeper. You can save it in the storage. Okay, Ritesh, maybe you need to find some information in the Google for the password information if you don't have. Like passport file should only have a letters and numbers. I don't know what is the issue it is trying to show you. So Ritesh, you can follow this document and raise a support case from this, okay? Or else you can try to have any of your other member, account, like anyone who had a PAN card and other card, register that. Okay, Ritesh? Better, don't try to waste the time. Better you can use any of your relatives or the cousins details if possible or the family member. You can try to register account. All right. All right. Thanks for your time. We shall catch up tomorrow. Give your feedback. That should be helpful on that link. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, guys, I already shared the attendance link and I'm sharing it once again. Please mark your attendance and don't forget to share your feedback as well. And if you have any query or question for me, let me know. Sir, we can find the recognition. Yes, you will get all the recognitions over the LMS, and that will be with you for lifetime. Nandini, I just shared the attendance link. I hope you received that. Okay, I'm sending that once. Yes, Shruti, tell me. Thank you, Gudav. You can access. Please share all the link in the chat box or upload in the LMS. Sunil, which link you are asking me? All links means which all links? Attendance link is already there in the LMS. If you check carefully, you will get that. Okay, Sunil, you are asking me that. Array, coming to that part, you will get the material as well in the LMS. Okay. How to mark the attendance? So, Shruti, I'm sharing the link. You have to click on that link. It will revert to the Google form. Google form will ask you few details. You have to fill that. You have to submit. That's it. Hello, sir. I registered today for the session and so could not attend yesterday's session. Will there be any problem in receiving certificate? No, Sakshi. There is no any problem. Okay, I think there is no any more question. So thank you so much, my dear participants, and we'll see you on tomorrow at same time. Bye bye. Good night, and take care of you and your family.